Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another episode of Raw, and we haven't even got through the intro yet. And these two men who Ciampa turned on last week, Johnny Gargano, was scheduled to make his one-on-one match to open up Monday Night Raw, but Ciampa jumping Gargano down with the neck breaker. And now Ciampa gets up Gargano, and look at the knee of Ciampa. Remember last week, Ciampa and Gargano had the tag team title match, one knee in the corner against Fraxium. And Ciampa turned on Gargano last week. Up goes Gargano, down with the stoop slam by Ciampa. Ciampa now gets up Johnny Wrestling, who has been his teammate for so long here in WWE. And now Ciampa getting booed out of Scotland here tonight. We in Celtic Park in Scotland, ladies and gentlemen. The Go Home Show 2 Clash at the Castle, ladies and gentlemen, coming up this week in Big Punch. And now Ciampa with the Enziguri. And ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Gargano hasn't done much here in this matchup. Big punches by Ciampa. Ciampa just unloading on Gargano. Gargano though, ducked the punch, kicks to the midsection. And now Gargano is in trouble. Project Ciampa going for the pin. There's doing a kick out. Ciampa with the Project Ciampa. Gargano escapes, and now look at Gargano in the corner. Ciampa full head of steam. And now kick to the midsection. Ciampa, oh, fairy tale ending, going for the pin. There's two, and Gargano once again escapes. And now Ciampa with the devastating knee that might have knocked out Gargano. There's two, and another kick out by Johnny Wrestler. And now here comes the chance for Gargano. Ciampa though, taking out the turnbuckle, but now look at Gargano into the submission, but Ciampa got to the ropes. Moonsault, no, Ciampa though, with the clothesline. What does Ciampa have in mind here? Big punch, no, Gargano finds the reversal. And now Gargano flatliner to Ciampa. And now Gargano looking for the Boston Crab here on Ciampa, but Ciampa immediately got out of it. And now Ciampa gets up to the top rope. Ciampa DDT, blaming Gargano. Is this enough? There's two and a kick out. And now Gargano gets up. Ciampa sent Gargano into a referee. And now Gargano with the kick. Big punch by Gargano into the Hurricanrana. And now Gargano, big senton avoided. Ciampa, kick to the midsection. Ciampa with the fairy tale ending once again to pick up the win against his former best friend, and he picks it up.
Here is your winner, Tommaso Ciampa.
Ciampa picks up a massive win here tonight, proving why he was the gentleman. We are back in the Celtic Arena here in Scotland, and we are building new challenges to Thraxium's Tag Team Championships in 2 weeks. And here comes part of the Authors of Pain, Paul Ellering. Akam on the left, Razor on the right.
The following contest is a tag team match set for one fall. On the way to the ring, accompanied by Paul Ellering at a combined weight of 620 pounds, Akam and Razor, Authors of Pain.
The Authors of Pain has a winning streak here in Universe Mode because episode 5, AOP faced off against the Good Brothers, picking up the win in that match. And we haven't seen them much after that, ladies and gentlemen. But now Akam and Razor are looking to get some gold here in Universe Mode. But they just have to defeat their opponents here tonight, who also has some backup in their corner. Because, ladies and gentlemen, looking to give some Viking experience to AOP, ladies and gentlemen, here comes the Viking Raiders.
And their opponents, accompanied by Valhalla at a combined weight of 552 pounds, Ivar and Eric, the War Raiders.
Eric and Ivar, this is a huge match for them, ladies and gentlemen. Because if the War Raiders can defeat AOP, then in 2 weeks they will face Thraxium for the Tag Team Championships. You gotta think Thraxium will be watching this match very closely, but ladies and gentlemen, coming up later on tonight, Gunther will take on Seth Rollins will take on Ilya Dragunov in our main event. And Gunther will challenge CM Punk in non-title action. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this tag team match. AOP and War Raiders. But now there's the reversal by Razor, sending Ivar into the corner. Tags in Akam. And now the power of AOP driving the knees in the sternum of Ivar. And now just dropping Ivar onto their knees. And now Akam with the gator roll here in this matchup. Locking in the submission. But now Akam stalking Ivar here, getting up Ivar. Into the corner goes Ivar. Tags to Razor. And now here comes even more knees to the chest of Ivar. Dropping Ivar down. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Razor is legal. Stomping out the hand of Ivar. That has all been AOP since the beginning of this matchup. Into the corner. Tags in Akam. The consistent tags of AOP is controlling this matchup. And now look at Akam, forehead of speed, driving the knee in the face. And now Akam gets up Ivar. Irish ripping, but Ivar finds the reversal, big gut punch. And now look at Ivar throwing Akam across the ring, going for the pin to defeat AOP. And a kick out by Akam. Big punch by Ivar, and another time. And now Ivar working over the arm of Akam. And now rubbing the face of Akam against the mat, driving the elbow down. And now Akam sends Ivar into the spine buster, going for the pin in the middle of the ring. There's two, and Ivar gets the shoulder up. Now, what does Akam have in mind? Sending Ivar into the corner, exposed, turnbuckle back first. Razor connects with the cheap shot. And now just throwing Ivar around the ring. Big kick to the midsection. Now Ivar with Akam, and throwing Akam with the overhead suplex. And now once again just raking the face and dropping the elbow to Akam here. And now look at Ivar with clubbing blows to the face of AOP. And now Ivar with the getting reversed by Akam, but Ivar though keeps on the attack, dropping Akam face first into the corner. And now what does Ivar have in mind? Sending Akam into War Raiders corners, tags in Eric. And now here comes the double team of the War Raiders. Eric with the government suplex down on Akam. And now what does Eric have in mind? Sending Akam into the corner once again. Tags in Ivar. Off the water. Sent on by Ivar. Off the ropes. Akam trying to get up here. Jessica Carr fixing the turnbuckle once again. Oh, there's the shoulder into the midsection. Getting up. Akam once again sent into the corner. Full head of steam goes Ivar. Oh, there's a splash in the corner. And now look at Paul Ellering making the difference. Tags in Razor. Razor with the clothesline. And now look at Razor taking advantage of the distraction. Big kick to the back, and now Razor gets up Ivar. Off the ropes, big boot. Down goes Ivar. Akam is back up in this match. Razor stalking Ivar, sending him shoulder first into the corner. Tags in Akam. And now Akam stomping and putting the knee straight in the throat of Ivar. And now what does Akam have in mind? Just showboating. Ivar's crawling to make the tag to Eric. And now Eric's legal. Akam's legal. And now Akam sends Eric into the corner, tags in Razor. And ladies and gentlemen, this might be the beginning of the end for the War Raiders. The sit-out powerbomb neckbreaker by AOP, going for the pin, and there's Ivar breaking things up. And now Razor in this match, getting up Eric into their corner, tags in Akam. And now look at the knee. Do the stomping of the chest by Akam. And now what does Akam have in mind? The power driving up Eric. Down goes Eric. And now, big kick, Akam off the rope, short attack misses. And now Eric gets up in this match, big kick, another kick. Kick to the midsection. Into a gauntlet, down with the knee. And now Eric tags in Ivar. And ladies and gentlemen, very back and forth match. Both men want the chance to fight for the tag titles. Into the War Raiders corner goes Akam. Tags in Ivar. And now look at the War Raiders clothesline. Great double team by the War Raiders. Going for the pin. There's two and a kick out by Akam. And now look at Eric stomping the arm of AOP. Getting up. Akam now is Eric. Sending Eric into the corner is Akam. And now stomping out Eric now into a... just tossing around Eric all across this match. Tags in Razor. And now Razor and Eric, the two legal men, kick to the midsection. But Eric overpowers Razor. And now Eric turns around Razor, driving the knee to the side of the head. Just tossing around AOP now. What does Eric have in mind? Just wrenching on that neck of Akam. Or Razor now, just getting stomped out. And now getting up, Razor is Akam. Or Eric. What does Eric have in mind? Oh, there's a kick to the back. Going for the pin. Is this going to be enough? And now there's Akam breaking up the pin. And now what does Eric have in mind? Getting up Razor into the corner. Tags to Ivar. And another senton by Ivar. And now Ivar keeping the attack of Razor in this match. Now both teams going to the apron. Eric stomping out the arm, and now it's a double team. But now Ivar gets back inside the ring. Onto the apron, Eric. Oh, just throwing Ivar. Or throwing Razor into Ivar. But now Razor sends Eric into the corner. DDT by Ivar. Count of two by our referee here. Big clubbing blow to the back. Stomping the knee of Razor now. Count of 5, leg drop to the arm. The Viking Raiders can win by count, and then I think that what Ivar's doing now. Breaking up the count and now getting up Razor. Big spinning heel kick. And now what does Ivar have in mind? Circling Razor on the outside. Forehead of steam. Stomp to the arm. And now look at the submission on Razor on the outside of the ring. But Razor gets out of it quickly. And now Razor gets inside the ring. Ivar circling the ringside area, now gets inside the ring. Close leg drop by Ivar. And now Ivar gets inside the ring. Or gets up. Razor sending Razor into the War Raiders corner. Razor though finds the reversal. There's the scoop slam out of it. And now look at Razor with the splash out of the corner on the second rope. Is this going to be enough? And a kick out by Ivar. Big head bump by Razor now. And now what does Razor have in mind? Sending Ivar into the corner. Big reversal by Ivar. And now Ivar with the sit out. Brainbuster on Razor. Is this gonna be enough for the War Raiders to go to challenge faxing him in 2 weeks? There's 2, and Razor gets the shoulder up. And now their crowd loving tag team wrestling, and so do I, ladies and gentlemen. Big reversal by Razor, and down goes Ivar. Tags in Akam now. Akam's a legal competitor for AOP. Gets up Ivar. And now Akam sends Ivar into the War Raiders corner. Tag to Razor. And ladies and gentlemen, the final chapter for Ivar with the great ring experience, and now getting double teamed by AOP. STO takedown. And now there's a spine buster by Razor on the outside. Count of 3 by Jessica Core. Count of 4. AOP sends Ivar back inside the ring. And now what does Razor have in mind here? Stomping the chest of Ivar. Been working over that chest this entire matchup, ladies and gentlemen. And now look at Razor thinking about taking flight here. Into the shoulder tackle. Down goes the big man. And now Ivar with the spinning heel kick. Popping straight up. And now what does Ivar have in mind? Ivar sends Razor into the corner. Tags to Eric. And ladies and gentlemen, big knee, clothesline to the back of the neck. And now Eric takes advantage, but Razor finds the reversal kick by Eric, another kick by Eric, kick to the midsection. And now Eric with the power, and down goes Razor. Stop to the back, and now Razor getting close to Akam. Can he make the tag? Eric sends Razor across the ring. Tags to Ivar. And now the tag team of War Raiders. Down goes Razor, going for the pin to defeat AOP. And a kick out by Razor. And now Ivar getting the crowd hyped in this match. Razor trying to make it to Akam, and tags in Akam. There's the headbutt to the back. And now Akam gets up Ivar here. And now Akam gets reversed by Ivar. And there's Paul Ellering making the difference on the outside. But there's Valhalla pulling out Akam. And Jessica Core needs to get this match back under control. Sending Akam into the ring. Eric's in the ring. Spinning heel kick. Down goes Akam. And now Ivar with another spinning heel kick. And there goes Valhalla. And a third spinning heel kick in this match. Jessica Core tossed Valhalla out of this match. And there's the moonsault avoided. And now look at Razor taking out Valhalla. And now Eric goes over to protect Valhalla, going for the pin on Ivar. Eric not paying attention. And a kick out by Ivar. Valhalla may be out cold. And now Akam gets up Ivar into the gut. Wrench. Oh! Burning hammer going for the pin. There's 2. And Ivar kicks out. And now there's the punches by Akam to Ivar. And now axe handle, down goes Ivar. And now what does Akam have in mind? Getting up Ivar in the corner. Akam full head of steam into the shoulder tackle. And now Ivar is in a one-man island right now against AOP, but now there's backup Eric on the apron of the War Raiders. But now Ivar sends Akam into the corner. Full head of steam. It goes. Ivar, big splash, no. Akam finds the reversal. DDT by Ivar, planning Akam. And now what does Ivar have in mind? Big punch by Akam. Big shoulder tackle, down goes Ivar. Tags in Razor. And now Razor getting fired up, looking to end this matchup. Got Ivar by the neck. Choke slam. And now Razor pulling Ivar away from the ropes. Is this enough? There's one. And AOP is now #1 contenders for Fraxium's titles.
Akam and Razor, authors of pain.
What a match, ladies and gentlemen. AOP are #1 contenders. But ladies and gentlemen, the World Heavyweight Champion is in action coming up next. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back in Scotland, and the ring general is already in the ring. But ladies and gentlemen, there's Jey Uso attacking the world champion once again for the 3rd consecutive week. Jey Uso just pounding away on the world champion ahead of their world title match at Clash in the Paris. And now look at Uso getting up the world champion once again, but now Gunther sends Jey Uso into the corner. Uso though finds the reversal. Big reversal by Gunther. And now these two men are brawling here. Kick to the hamstring of Gunther. Now Jey once again getting reversed. There's the uppercut by Gunther. And now Gunther with the advantage. Kind of had a feeling Gunther thought Jey was going to be attacking here. Clothesline by Gunther, laying out Uso. Stomp to the arm. And now what does Gunther have in mind? Getting up Uso. Big punch, another punch. And look at Gunther getting reversed by Jey. Kick to the midsection. Uso with the sidewalk slam. And now getting up Gunther. Jey's on the top rope. Gunther sidesteps. Big punch. And now Gunther gets up Jey. Gunther. Power bomb on Jey. Big boot. Down goes Uso. And now Gunther with the punches to the face of Uso. And ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a chaotic brawl at Scotland for the World Championship. Big drop kick by Gunther, now getting up, main event. Sending Uso onto his shoulders, dropping Uso face first on the exposed steel. And into another knee drive into the corner, but now Uso plays possum, takes out the knee of Gunther. Gets up Gunther, big reversal by Gunther. And now Uso trying to connect with the super kick, big boot by Gunther. And now Gunther delivers a chop, big boot, Uso ducks it. Clothesline didn't take Gunther down, big axe handle. Big boot by Gunther. And now Gunther with the sleeper hold, locked in on Uso. We are back live for our main event here in Scotland. And here comes the revolutionary Seth Rollins. And now Seth Rollins making his entrance here tonight like we mentioned earlier on in the night, Seth Rollins will take on Ilya Dragunov here in our main event. But ladies and gentlemen, what a season it has been for Seth Rollins.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring from Davenport, Iowa, weighing in at 217 pounds, Seth freaking Rollins!
Seth Rollins opened up the season by defeating main event Jey Uso. And then later, a couple weeks later, he faced off against Sheamus. Obafemi got involved in that matchup. But it was one hell of a match, ladies and gentlemen. And now Seth Rollins is here live in Scotland to face off against a man who has issues with the Intercontinental Champion, Logan Paul. We will get more on that while Dragunov makes his entrance. Because last week, Ilya Dragunov went toe-to-toe with Drew McIntyre to find out who will be going to Scotland to face Logan Paul. But our general manager has announced, because last week Logan Paul attacked Ilya before the match could start.
From Moscow, Russia, weighing in at 187 pounds, Ilya Dragunov.
Ilya Dragunov is added to the Intercontinental Championship match at Clash in Paris, or Scotland. So now, for the Intercontinental Championship, Logan Paul will defend his title against Ilya Dragunov and Drew McIntyre. But Dragunov also have one hell of a season defeating names like Trick Williams. That was one hell of a match to start off the season, going toe-to-toe with CM Punk, defeating CM Punk. But now Dragunov looking to defeat Seth Rollins and build momentum towards the Intercontinental Championship match. And this match is underway. Elbow collar tie-up here. In this match, big reversal. And now Seth and Ilya once again into the tie-up. Seth though with the headlock on Ilya Dragunov. But Ilya finds the reversal into the gut wrench lock now on Seth Rollins. Just wrenching on the gut now. Into the roll-up on Seth. And there's a kick out by Seth, but now into a roll-up of his own on Dragunov. And Dragunov kicks out quickly. And now into another lockup here. Both men do not want to give the advantage to one another. Backing up Ilya into the corner and a clean break between these two. Big chop by Rollins and another chop. And now Ilya gets laid out by Seth. And now look at Ilya getting caught with the senton. Going for the pin is Rollins. And a kick out by Seth. And now Rollins kick to the back of Ilya. And now once up the Mad Dragon is Rollins. Big punch. And now Ilya connects with the slap. No. Rollins and Ilya now trading blows here in this matchup. Big chop by Ilya. Big chop by Rollins. And Rollins is a Grand Slam champion. What momentum would it be for Ilya Dragunov to defeat a Grand Slam champion? What a clothesline by the Mad Dragon. And now going to the middle rope is Dragunov. And look at Dragunov sizing up Rollins for the crossbody. Into a senton now is Dragunov. And now Dragunov gets up Rollins into the gut slam. And now Rollins could be in trouble. Ilya off the ropes. Big clothesline. Down goes Seth. Stomp to the arm. And now big H-bomb down on Rollins. Rollins could be out cold, ladies and gentlemen. Ilya goes for the pin to defeat Seth Rollins, and a kick out by Seth. And now Ilya gets up. Rollins here, big senton. But Rollins already gets back up. Rollins sends Ilya off the ropes. And the crowd chanting "Fight Forever" here in our main event. Sling Blade down goes Ilya. But now look out, Rollins gets up. Ilya, big revolutionary knee, going for the pin to defeat Ilya Dragunov, and a kick out at 2 by Ilya. Big reversal, big knee by Rollins now. And now Ilya. Face first goes Rollins. And now what does Dragunov have in mind? Big elbow to the back. And now Ilya, German suplex down on Seth Rollins. Big senton now. Rollins now bringing out a custom attire here on Monday Night Raw. Big reversal. Kick to the head. And now what does Ilya have in mind? Ilya gets up Rollins. Looking for the elbow now. Big punch by Rollins. And now Rollins sends Ilya into the corner. Adrian Butler got in the way. And now look at Ilya Dragunov. Big drive down. What does Rollins have to do to gain momentum here against the Mad Dragon? Big power, big suplex. The power of Ilya Dragunov is being shown off here tonight. And now dragging Rollins away from the ropes. What does Ilya have in mind? Ilya looking for another H-bomb. Laying out Rollins here tonight. Going for the pin off the second H-bomb. Is this going to be enough? And Rollins again kicks out. Rollins is a 6-time world champion. Big kick to the midsection. Kick to the midsection again. And now Rollins with the pedigree down on Ilya. Going for the pin on Dragunov. Is this going to be enough? And Ilya kicks out. What a match, ladies and gentlemen. Rollins sizing up Dragunov. Kick to the midsection. Rollins with the good stop. Going for the pin off the stop. There's 2 and a kick out again by Dragunov. What a match this has been, ladies and gentlemen. Sending Ilya off the ropes is Rollins. Big leapfrog ducked under. And now Rollins with the drop kick down on Ilya. Attacking the shoulder now is Rollins off the ropes. Rollins drops the knee on Dragunov. Into a leg drop now by Rollins. And now Rollins turns around Dragunov into the submission on Dragunov. Is this going to be how Dragunov escapes that submission hold? And now what does Dragunov have in mind? Taking down Rollins and stomping the chest of Rollins. And now what does Dragunov have in mind? Big powerbomb down goes Rollins. And now backs up into the corner. Using the crowd for momentum. Ladies and gentlemen, Ilya delivers the knockout elbow. Going for the pin off the elbow. There's 2, and Ilya Dragunov defeats Seth.
Here is your winner, Ilya Dragunov.
What a match, ladies and gentlemen, this has been. But thank you for watching the Go Home Show of Monday Night Raw.